Hello, my name's Nathan Baisley and welcome to Concordia College in South Australia for a very special Behind the News presentation. This week is Mental Health Week, and while our physical health is something we all pay close attention to, our mental health is often something we try to ignore. So today we're going to help. We're going to be looking at 3 of the big mental health issues that kids face: stress, bullying and body image. And I'm going to be asking these guys for all of their feelings and experiences about each one. And to help us with our discussion, we have Counsellor Bill Hansbury here to give us some expert tips and guidance. Right, let's get stuck into it. Our first story today is all about some revealing statistics that show that kids are more stressed now than ever before. Here's Tash.
Life is full of challenges. Some involve family, some friends, and some school. Some of them are easy to cope with, but others can leave you feeling sad, stressed, or just alone. A recent study found half of school kids aren't coping very well with some of these challenges. 16,000 kids in years 4 to 12 were surveyed. 28% of boys and 38% of girls said they don't get enough sleep. 1 in 3 girls is unhappy, and almost the same number of boys feel like they're always under stress. 1 in 4 boys and 1 in 3 girls say they're losing confidence in themselves, and nearly half of all kids say they've been bullied at school. But why? Well, there are lots of reasons why we can feel stressed, anxious or worried. It might be a family breakdown, like if your parents decide to separate. You might feel pressure at school with assignments and tests. There might be a death in the family or illness which affects your emotions. Or you could be experiencing bullying. So, what kinds of things stress or worry you?
My mum had pneumonia a few years ago and she had to be in hospital for a while, and it was hard.
When I've got a big footy match coming up, like a grand final or a semi-final, to get in, it's just the day before that you're thinking, oh, we've got to win this, we have to.
I recently moved overseas from England to Australia, and that was kind of hard for me because all my family's over there.
My grandma died a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and was that hard as well, dealing with that with school and well?
Yeah, that was.
When I've got lots of work to do at school and I don't think I can do it, I just try to get through it and think of ideas to get it off my mind, how hard it's going to be.
And how does it make you feel?
I get butterflies and feel sick and getting headaches with stressful stuff.
I normally feel sad and I don't really want to talk to anyone. I just want to be by myself and try to get over it by myself.
I lose my confidence and I just I can't really talk.
There are lots of ways kids deal with how they're feeling. These guys take part in boxercise classes twice a week before school.
How do you deal with it?
I talk to my friends and my parents, and because I can trust them.
I go running because then I don't really focus on what's upsetting me.
Well, for me it tends to be sport and having a good time and just forgetting about everything, to wipe out your memory and just having a fun time, go to the movies, bowling, anything.
For me it would be music because it really calms you down.
I like to talk to my dog because then she can't answer back, so she can't say something mean or something.
Okay, so that showed some of the statistics there about stress and anxiety, but what sort of role does stress and anxiety play in your lives?
When I'm doing schoolwork and stuff, I get really stressed when there's tests and stuff coming up, and sometimes it affects my other learning because I'm just focusing on my stress to do with that particular subject.
I get stressed when I don't understand something and it takes over all my other learning because I keep thinking about that same thing and don't really concentrate on any other stuff.
I think I get stressed if I'm arguing with my friends, I'm kind of thinking about what could happen if it gets worse or anything.
When I get stressed, I get really mad at everyone and I often say things that I don't mean, but
I get really upset with myself afterwards for getting mad at whoever I got mad at, and I get really disappointed in myself, and then I get sad and lonely.
When I'm stressed, I actually find it harder to get things done, and I don't really concentrate as well.
Okay, we might bring you in there, Bill. There was a few people touching on, schoolwork, family and friends as big issues for stress in their life. What do you see?
Well, most of the people that talked about stress being triggered by something going on in your life that's not normal. And it's really important, I reckon, at your age to know that stress has got a job. Like all your feelings, it gets you ready for something, it makes you alert. And often stress's job is to get you to think differently or act differently. But what I think a lot of young people experience is when stress gets overwhelming, it kind of locks you into a place where you can't use the problem-solving part of your brain. So as you get older, you develop things that you can do to calm your brain down a little bit, to turn on your problem-solving thinking again. And different people do different things. Some people tell me exercise does the trick. Some people just like to lie in their bed and listen to music. But whatever you can do to just calm yourself down and let stress do that job to switch the problem-solving part of your brain on is important.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Now, while stress and anxiety is something that affects us behind closed doors, bullying is something that affects us right out in the open. So next we're going to take a look at a story that tells us all about the problem and what some kids are doing to try and help it. Here's Sarah.
If you've ever felt lonely in a playground full of kids, if people have made you feel sad, scared or angry, then you're not alone. About 1 in 4 Aussie kids has been bullied.
Loser!
Bullying can take all different forms, and it's not always obvious. But any time someone deliberately makes you feel bad, whether it's with words or actions, that's bullying.
I get home one day and on Facebook, this really mean comment from one of my really close friends. I don't think they've understood that it really hurt me.
I was just like sitting down and the kid just walked up and just punched me in the back of the head. I didn't want to go to school. When I went to school, I would just be like trying to get detention so I couldn't go out to the playground so I couldn't get hurt or nothing.
And I opened up my locker and there was this note and it basically told me to go back to my old school. They called me names, they told me I didn't fit in here. I was feeling quite alone, even though there was thousands of girls around me.
But the good news is, it doesn't last forever. Some really successful and popular adults were bullied as kids. Like Dance Academy star Tim Pocock, who talked to Kane from ABC3 about how bullying affected him.
One of the things my mum used to say to me all the time, don't show them that it's getting to you. Just rise above it, take it on the chin. She goes, I know it's going to be really hard, but just put up with it because in 10, 15 years' time, it's not going to matter anymore.
People always offer that kind of advice, don't they? Like, they always go, well, it won't last forever, so just, grin and bear it and be strong. But when you're in it, it's often really hard to pull off.
That's right, and you don't believe them because right then and there in that moment, it's your life. And it seems like it's been going on forever and you don't see any rainbow at the end of the cloud. But, I know that that's not true. Your life goes off in a different direction when you finish school.
Come on.
Even at school, there are things you can do. Here at Woodville High, students ran workshops on staying safe and avoiding bullies on Facebook.
We're basically just helping the Year 9s to change their privacy settings, their account settings, just so that they're safer on the internet.
They also made a poster encouraging kids to report bullying, even if it's happening to someone else.
On our school website, we have a special section to report bullying. So if you're not too comfortable going to a teacher telling them, this person's being bullied or I'm being bullied, you can just go on the website from home. You can access it from home or at school.
The kids at St Francis Xavier take inspiration from a cartoon bully-busting mascot, Frankie.
It's a good way to teach the little kids not to bully like when they're older.
They're taught to stand up for their classmates and not be a bystander.
Bystander is when you just stand there watching somebody being bullied.
Because if bullies don't have the numbers behind them, they'll start to decrease.
And by working together, the kids have the power to stop bullies.
You just got to stand up to them.
yeah, you got to know who the bully is and to stop them like right in their tracks.
Bullying, no way! Okay, let's bring you guys in now. How big of a problem is bullying in your lives?
One of my friends was being bullied by one of my other friends, and I wasn't sure whether or not I should say something because I didn't want to ruin either of my friendships with either of the people.
I think it can be like really bad because like cyberbullying, it's so silent and nobody ever knows it's happening.
I think with cyberbullying it's a lot harder to track down, but with physical bullying you can easily tell when it's happening, and so that's why cyberbullying is increasing a lot.
I think cyberbullying is increasing and physical bullying is decreasing because when you're cyberbullying you can say stuff that you wouldn't normally say, and you can continuously say it and continuously put the person down instead of someone else standing up for the other person, because you can just hide behind a computer screen and just bully them.
I've just got a question for you guys. What types of things stop young people reporting that they're being bullied or reporting that someone else is being bullied?
Because they might feel that if they report them, they were going to get bullied more, so they don't want to. They just want to stay safe instead of tell someone, and then they might get bullied even more.
So Bill, I suppose there's a lot of experiences here between cyberbullying and the traditional physical bullying that everyone's experienced, whether it's themselves or with friends. What tips do you have for kids going through that sort of situation?
What we know about bullying is it's undercover, and like someone mentioned really accurately before, when it's behind a computer screen it's even more undercover, it's just not out there. So when we can work together and we can actually have conversations about how we're treating each other, not necessarily about bullying, but we can get whole classes together, we can get whole year levels together, and we can ask, how are we going as a group? How are we going? Are we looking after each other? It tends to bring it out, and I think that's one of the ways we really defeat bullying. Is there's a lot of talk about putting pressure on one or two people who might be bystanders to report it, but as mentioned before, what stops a lot of people doing that is the fear that if they say something, then all of a sudden the bullying will turn onto them. So I think safety in numbers, and teachers always talking it up, always in groups, in circles talking about it, is one of the key things. If you're being bullied yourself, well, I think that the old advice is really good advice. Talk to somebody. You don't have to cop it on your own.
Thanks, Bill. Now, our last story is all about body image. Our recent survey revealed that by the age of 11, half of all kids want to change something about themselves. Now, that's something that our rookie reporter that we're going to see next, Brooke, also felt, but now she's doing something positive to change that. This is her story.
Hi, I'm Brooke Mason from Tasmania, and I love surfing. I guess always I've just kind of had, a zest for life. I've just wanted to live every single day to the absolute nth degree. I guess it might come from when I was younger. I had heaps of eczema and I couldn't even go in the ocean until I was about 10 years old, and I had cold sores and I was a really sickly little child. But I guess that's kind of given me resilience in a way and made me stronger so that I can stay positive and get through things these days, and kind of I want to spread that message to others too, and that's why I've got this idea. So Fresh Face Friday is a positive body image campaign. So I'm really passionate about this issue because I believe that body image is a huge problem in today's youth, and basically through the influences of social media, especially in school, I think people are really quite judgmental about you if you're not, you don't dress a certain way, if you don't act a certain way. I guess for me, I got into thinking about how I can make a difference, because I actually realised that it was possible that I could through the Haywire project. And so I wrote a story, and that allowed me to go away to the Haywire Summit, where we came up, I thought it was just a trip to the AIS, and I wanted to see the athletes, but it was about coming up with all these ideas about youth, actually making a difference and having their ideas heard. And I guess my idea, which was about Fresh Face Friday, it was just a little seed, but over the last 2 years it's become something real that's actually going to happen. We were split up into groups, and I was in a group with about 4 or 5 others, and our group focused on body image. And so we came up with a little video, which I'll show you. I grew up with girls not talking but bragging about their eating disorders and competing for whose was most severe.
I can't go to the beach
because my mates don't want to take their shirt off in front of people.
I'm sick of the competition and I'm fed up with being judged for things that I can't control.
I wish that when I was in high school, I knew to be comfortable with myself and to embrace my flaws rather than covering them up with makeup and hairspray. And I guess this campaign that we had was really very serious, very grave, and that wasn't really me. And so a way we're approaching the campaign this year is really, quite exciting and positive, and so pretty excited to see how it's going to turn out. Firstly, you can join the social media campaign, which involves getting a piece of paper and writing down something positive about yourself on it. Just one thing, it could be like something like, I am a really funny person. And you're going to then what they're going to do is they're going to get a picture of themselves holding up this piece of paper, put it on Facebook or Instagram with the hashtags. Another way to get involved is to just basically change your mentality for that day. So whether it be just looking at things in a more positive light, try and see how many people you can cheer up on that day.
Imagine if everyone could feel comfortable in their own skin.
Okay, so that was all about a positive project that's coming out of the body image issue. But is it a big issue for you guys?
Everyone at school, everyone, would at some point, at any time, talk about themselves in a bad way, any flaw that they have, and say how much they wish they didn't have that and wish they had this, and they just can constantly complain about it. And I would do that as well, and just it affects everyone, not just a certain amount of people. Just everyone has it at some point in their lives. They reflect on themselves badly.
I think it's a bit more more expectation for girls because of everything in the magazines and stuff, but it still kind of is a big expectation for guys as well because of all the celebrities and all that have special surgeries to get perfect, and people want to look like them, but it's just unrealistic expectations.
Oh, I saw an ad on TV just the other day, and it was about makeup, and the voiceover said that you can put the makeup on and you can have perfect, flawless skin, but it's not true. You don't get that flawless skin from wearing makeup. You can have flawless skin without wearing makeup as long as you believe in yourself.
In ads, without directly saying that you look bad, they kind of make you feel like you look bad by having those perfect images of perfect people so that you want to buy the products, and it doesn't always make you buy the product, but it makes you feel bad about yourself.
We might bring you back in there, Bill. Body image is a very tough one because it can keep coming up again and again over your life. Do you have some things that kids around Australia can focus on when they're worried about their body image?
Just before we start, I need to check, how's my good side looking? Is it okay?
It's nice.
Oh, good, okay.
That's lovely. Yeah. That side, not so good.
I think it's about remembering some key things, and I think the very clever young people in the room mentioned a few of them. Number one, the popular media are trying to sell an image that there's this perfect body. I don't know if you guys saw a few weeks ago on Facebook, I saw this clip play of they started off with a lady without makeup, without any touching up done, and then they showed everything they did to her. And they stretched her neck, not really, but her neck got stretched out. They airbrushed, they used colouring, and we ended up with something that looked nothing like the lady in the beginning. So you're completely vulnerable to these messages and these images of perfect people, but as you said, they just don't exist. And you know what? It doesn't, as you get older, and you're thinking, here we go, the as you get older talk from an old person, but as you get older, you're right, you start to focus on different things about yourself, things on the inside. But every one of us, doesn't matter how old we are, have something about us that we'd change if we could. You know, I wish my forehead shone less. I wish I had a little less fat there. And it's true for everybody. If we could wave a magic wand and change something about ourselves or our appearance, we'd all do it. And it doesn't matter how perfect we look. If you speak to a supermodel, they'll give you a list of 10 things about themselves that they're not happy with and they'd change. So we're all in the same boat, I think, in that whole idea of how we look and how we wish we looked.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Nathan.
Okay, and that's all we have time for on our Behind the News Mental Health Week special. I'd like to thank Concordia College for having us today and speaking so openly with us. And I'd like to thank Bill for all his expert tips. Thanks for watching and bye for now.